Let me tell you something real. A hot older woman ain't defined by age, waist size, filters, or trends. No, ma'am. She's defined by presence. The energy you carry when you've lived enough life to know who you are, and you walk like it. See, when you're young, you try to prove you're something. But when you're grown, when you've been through storms, heartbreaks, victories, losses, and came out standing, now that gives you a glow you can't buy at Sephora. So here are 6 signs you're a hot older woman. And if these fit you, trust me, you're already walking in the room with a spotlight on you. 1, you're not desperate, you're selective. A hot older woman don't chase nobody. She knows her worth, she knows her value, and she knows peace is better than attention. If a man wants you, he gotta come correct, with effort, consistency, and some damn sense. People always imagine confidence is something you get from praise, from popularity, from somebody telling you every day how good you look. But let me tell you the truth from a man who has lived long enough and watched enough. People learn the hard way. Real confidence doesn't come from compliments. Real confidence is something you earn, something you build, something you grow into after life has tested you again and again. A hot older woman is not confident because she heard she's beautiful. She's confident because she survived things that would have broken somebody else. She has that inner glow because she fought battles nobody knows about and still walks into the room with her head high, like she owns her space, because she does. When a woman has lived long enough, she learns that survival builds a certain strength in her bones. She stops relying on what people think because she has already lived through disappointment, heartbreak, betrayal, and reinvention. She has outgrown the need to prove anything. She no longer tries to impress anybody because she has already done the hardest work, impressing herself. She wakes up in the morning knowing what she's capable of. She knows she can rebuild her life from scratch if she needs to because she has done it before. And that quiet, calm, steady confidence is exactly what makes her so irresistible. Not loud, not flashy, just powerful. You can see that confidence before she even speaks. It's in the way she walks, steady, unbothered, unhurried. A younger woman might walk into a room looking for approval. A grown woman walks in with her own approval already secured. She's not thinking, I hope they like me. She's thinking, I hope this room is worth my time. That is a whole different level of energy. And let me tell you, men feel that. They can sense when a woman is grounded in herself. It makes her look 10 times more beautiful without her ever needing to try. And this kind of confidence is earned through experience. A younger woman might get her confidence from being noticed, from being praised, from having all eyes on her. But a hot older woman knows attention is cheap. She knows validation is temporary. She knows people can hype you up today and forget you tomorrow. So she stopped depending on all that. She learned the only validation that actually lasts is the one she gives herself. She learned to love herself through her imperfections, through her failures, through her struggles. She learned to find beauty in the parts of herself she used to hide. That level of self-acceptance creates a shine no makeup can copy. Another thing that makes her so attractive is that she's no longer scared of being alone. She didn't become confident because someone stayed, she became confident because she learned she could stand even when someone left. That's powerful. That's the kind of confidence that says, I want you, but I don't need you. And that energy is like a magnet. People chase those who don't need chasing. And when she talks, it's different too. There's no desperation in her voice, no anxiety in her tone. She doesn't speak from fear, she speaks from experience. She gives advice with wisdom, makes decisions with clarity, and carries herself with the calm of someone who has already been through storms and knows she'll survive the next one. That's why people trust her, admire her, and feel drawn to her. Her confidence isn't loud, it's lived. It's not something she announces, it's something she embodies. And the beauty of it is that she doesn't even try to be hot, she just is. Her strength, her growth, her resilience, her peace, it all wraps around her like a natural glow. That's why she stands out. That's why she turns heads. That's why age doesn't dim her. It sharpens her. Your confidence didn't come from compliments. It came from survival. You ain't confident because someone told you you're beautiful, you're confident because you proved to yourself that you can rebuild after the world knocked you down. That type of confidence, it's magnetic. There's a certain elegance in a woman who has learned the art of carrying herself with class and yet doesn't tolerate nonsense from anyone. That balance is not something you wake up with at 21. That balance is earned through years of watching people test your patience, cross your boundaries, play with your kindness, and assume you'll always tolerate it. But as a woman grows older, she doesn't get bitter, she gets wise. She learns how to handle people without raising her voice, without losing her cool, without stepping out of her character. That is a hot older woman's power. She doesn't need to explode. She doesn't need to argue. She doesn't need drama to prove a point. She just knows how to shut things down in a calm, firm way that leaves no confusion. A younger woman might scream to be respected. A grown woman commands respect the moment she walks in. She's seen enough of life to stop explaining herself to people who are committed to misunderstanding her. She doesn't waste time trying to fix disrespect. She simply removes herself from it. When a man plays games, she doesn't chase him, she steps back. When someone crosses a boundary, she doesn't beg them to do better. She simply closes the door. That's what makes her so attractive. Her peace is priceless to her. Her standards are solid. Her energy is protected like a treasure. And anyone who wants to be in her life has to come with real effort, real honesty, and real intentions. And this class she carries isn't performative. It's rooted in growth. She's lived long enough to understand that dignity is a quiet form of strength. She doesn't need to clap back at everything. She doesn't need to prove she's right in every argument. She picks her battles like a woman who knows she has nothing to prove. She doesn't gossip, doesn't entertain drama, and doesn't get caught up in petty things because she knows her time is valuable. She's matured past the stage of competing with other women, comparing her life, or trying to be liked by everybody. Her only concern now is protecting her well-being and staying aligned with the life she's building. But the most captivating thing is how she can switch. She can be soft, elegant, gentle, feminine, but if somebody tries to disrespect her, she can shut it down with a single sentence. Not rude, not loud, just clear. She knows how to look someone in the eye and let them know she's not the one to play with. That ability to stay classy while taking no nonsense is what gives her that grown woman glow. She has mastered the art of choosing herself. And let me tell you something as a man that is unbelievably attractive. A woman who respects herself sets the tone for how everyone else must treat her. And when a woman is consistent with her boundaries, men approach her differently. They step up. They speak better. They behave better. Because they know she isn't afraid to walk away. She's been alone before. She's built herself before. She's survived without anyone's help before. So the fear of losing someone doesn't control her anymore. She carries a calmness that tells the world, I know who I am now. I know what I deserve. And I'm not negotiating my worth. That confidence is quiet, but it's powerful. It shows in the way she carries herself, in the way she talks, in the way she says no without guilt, and yes, without hesitation. She's not easily impressed, not easily manipulated, not easily shaken. Life taught her to stand firm. Experience taught her to choose peace. And maturity taught her that walking away is often the loudest statement a woman can make. That's the beauty of a hot older woman. She knows how to be gentle without being walked over, strong without being hard, classy without being silent, and assertive without being rude. That level of balance is rare. And that's what makes her absolutely magnetic. 3, you carry yourself with class, but you don't take nonsense. You know how to be elegant, but you also know how to shut disrespect down without raising your voice. That mix of grace and boundaries, woo, that's grown woman fine. There is something incredibly powerful about a woman who has finally become comfortable in her own skin. It's not loud, it's not showy, and it's not something she tries to convince anyone of. It's just there, steady, calm, undeniable. When a woman reaches that stage in her life where she no longer feels the need to fit into anyone else's definition of beauty or worth, she becomes magnetic in a way she couldn't have imagined in her younger years. Confidence changes the way she walks, the way she dresses, the way she smiles, the way she takes up space, and even the way she sits in silence. She's no longer trying to shrink herself to make others comfortable. She's no longer pretending, no longer performing. She is herself fully and unapologetically. A younger woman may feel pressured to change herself to match trends, to compare herself to others, to worry constantly about how she is being perceived. But a hot older woman, she's done with all of that. She's lived long enough to understand that true beauty isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. She knows she doesn't need the approval of the world to feel good about who she is. She has spent years battling insecurities, questioning herself, doubting her worth. Slowly, Over time, she learned to give herself the love she once begged others for. Her confidence now is earned, not granted. And because of that, it can't be taken away. She dresses for herself now, not to impress anyone, not to compete, not to be the loudest person in the room. She knows what looks good on her because she knows her body, her angles, her energy. She's learned to love the curves, the lines, the softness, the strength. She's learned to embrace the parts of herself she once hid. She understands that beauty evolves, and she evolves with it. She doesn't chase youth because she knows youth isn't the prize self-assurance is. She's comfortable putting on what makes her feel confident rather than what society says she should wear. And that quiet freedom shows. She's also comfortable emotionally. She doesn't pretend to be okay just to make others feel better. She doesn't stay silent when something bothers her, but she also doesn't explode. She has found a balance between expressing herself and protecting her peace. She's learned that her voice matters, her feelings matter, her needs matter. And she no longer apologizes for that. This emotional clarity makes her unbelievably attractive because people feel safe around her. They sense her stability, her maturity, her grounded presence. And when she loves someone, she loves from a place of security, not fear. She's not jealous of other women. She's not intimidated by younger beauty. She understands everyone has their season, and hers is just as valuable as any other. She knows what she brings to the table: intelligence, experience, warmth, depth, empathy, emotional strength, and a sense of self that can't be shaken. She doesn't worry about losing someone because she knows she will never lose herself again. Even the way she handles compliments is different. She doesn't brush them off out of insecurity, and she doesn't lean on them for validation. She simply accepts them because she knows she deserves them. And that alone makes her even more captivating. She glows differently because her glow isn't for show. It comes from peace. It comes from healing. It comes from embracing who she is without needing to be anything more or less. Her presence becomes a statement. This is me, and I'm enough. That comfort makes her stand out in any room she enters. People look at her not because she's trying to be seen, but because she carries a confidence that can't be ignored. A confidence that only comes from truly knowing yourself, truly liking yourself, and finally being at home in your own skin. You're comfortable in your own skin. Young girls compete. Grown women radiate. You don't dress for approval. You dress to feel good. You don't try to look 20. You look the best version of you. There's a special kind of beauty in a woman who has developed emotional intelligence. It's not the loud kind of beauty people instantly notice. It's the kind that reveals itself slowly, the kind that leaves a mark long after she walks away. Emotional intelligence is rare. And when a woman reaches the stage in her life where she understands her emotions, understands people, and understands how to move through the world without causing chaos, she becomes irresistible without even trying. She doesn't operate from insecurity anymore. She doesn't jump to conclusions, assume the worst, or start fights to feel acknowledged. She has learned through experience that peace is more valuable than proving a point. She listens differently. She speaks differently. She reacts differently. When someone tries to provoke her, she doesn't give them the satisfaction of seeing her lose her composure. She's learned that every situation doesn't require a reaction, and every comment doesn't deserve a response. She has learned to pause before she speaks, to think before she acts, to breathe before she breaks. That wisdom didn't come easy. It came from moments where she acted out of emotion and regretted it. It came from times when she loved too hard, trusted too fast, forgave too much, and allowed the wrong people to have too much power over her feelings. But life taught her to slow down, observe, and choose her responses carefully. She also understands people better now. She doesn't take everything personally. She knows that sometimes people project their own pain, insecurity, or frustration onto others. She recognizes when something isn't about her at all and refuses to carry emotional weight that doesn't belong to her. She doesn't internalize every cold tone or careless word because she understands that emotionally unstable people often create storms they expect others to stand in. But she doesn't stand in storms anymore. She protects herself not by building walls, but by setting boundaries. She knows the difference between someone who's communicating and someone who's provoking, between someone who needs understanding and someone who wants drama, between someone who made a mistake and someone who's manipulating her. That level of emotional maturity is breathtaking. It makes her a better partner, friend, mother, sister, and human being. It makes her relationships healthier because she knows how to express her needs clearly. She knows how to apologize when she's wrong, how to forgive without forgetting the lesson, and how to walk away when a connection is hurting more than helping. And what people find so attractive about her is that she doesn't try to control anyone. She doesn't try to change people. She doesn't cling to relationships out of fear or loneliness. She lets people be who they are because she has finally accepted who she is. Emotional intelligence gave her freedom from overthinking, from repeating old mistakes, from holding on to things that break her. She has learned the difference between reacting and responding, and that difference has given her peace. Her energy becomes soothing. People feel safe talking to her because she listens without judgment. She gives advice that comes from experience, not ego. She knows how to comfort someone without making their pain about her. And because she understands herself deeply, she also chooses her relationships more carefully. She no longer entertains people who drain her emotionally. She values stability, maturity, and intentionality. She would rather be alone with peace than with someone who disturbs her spirit. This emotional intelligence also makes her incredibly captivating to men. Men notice her calmness, her maturity, her softness paired with strength. They feel drawn to her because she doesn't bring chaos or insecurity into their lives. She communicates instead of accusing, understands instead of assuming, and loves without losing herself. That balance is rare. That's why she stands out. That's why she leaves an impression. That's why a hot older woman with emotional intelligence becomes unforgettable. 5, you've got emotional intelligence, the rarest beauty of all. You don't argue over foolishness. You communicate, you listen, you choose peace over chaos. Men find that irresistible because wisdom hits different. There comes a point in a woman's life when she finally understands her own values so deeply that she stops trying to convince anyone of it. She no longer chases love, attention, or validation. Instead, she carries herself with a quiet confidence that speaks louder than anything she could say. That's when she becomes truly irresistible, because a woman who knows she is the prize doesn't need to announce it, she simply lives it. And the world responds to her differently. People treat her with more respect. Men approach her with more care. Even strangers sense that she is not someone who accepts bare minimum effort. She knows the difference between being wanted and being valued. She doesn't melt for sweet words anymore. She pays attention to consistency. She has lived long enough to understand the intentions mean nothing without action. She doesn't get excited just because someone shows interest. She watches how they show effort. She watches how they speak, how they behave when no one is watching, how they treat people who can't give them anything. Her standards are shaped by experience. She knows what kind of energy she wants around her, and she knows what kind drains her. And she has no problem choosing herself when someone doesn't meet the standards she set. She's not impressed by superficial things. Fancy cars, flashy outfits, smooth talk, none of that moves her anymore. She's seen too much, survived too much, and learned too much to fall for what's temporary. She values emotional safety, loyalty, consistency, and maturity. She wants someone who shows up, not someone who shows off. She wants presence, not promises. She wants honesty, not games. And when she sees red flags, she doesn't pretend they're yellow. She doesn't stay because she's scared to start over. She's not afraid of being alone because she knows solitude isn't empty. It's where she built her strength. When she says she is the prize, it's not arrogance. It's awareness. She knows what she brings to a relationship. Stability, support, depth, wisdom, kindness, and emotional clarity. She knows how to love, but she also knows how to walk away. She knows how to give, but not to people who only take. She's learned that self-respect is her greatest form of protection. And every decision she makes now comes from a place of honoring herself. People notice her energy. There's a calm confidence in the way she moves. She doesn't compete with younger women or anyone else because she knows there's no competition when you stay in your lane. She knows she has qualities that only time can create: resilience, patience, understanding, and emotional steadiness. She's not threatened by anyone because she's not trying to be anyone else. She's mastered the art of loving herself. And that kind of self-assurance is rare. Men can sense that she doesn't tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or half effort. They know she's not easily swayed by empty promises. They understand they can't play with her time. And the right kind of man will rise to meet her standards, not because she demands it, but because her presence makes him want to be better. A woman who knows her worth brings out the best in the people around her because she refuses to accept anything less. And the most powerful part is that she didn't become this woman overnight. She became this version of herself through heartbreaks, setbacks, disappointments, and lessons. She learned to stop settling for the bare minimum. She learned to stop shrinking herself to make others feel comfortable. She learned that being alone is better than being with someone who makes her feel lonely. And now she carries herself with the grace and strength that only a woman who has rebuilt herself can carry. That's why she's the prize, because she knows her value, protects her peace, and moves through life with maturity, confidence, and intention. People don't just see her beauty, they feel her power. 6, you've got that I'm the prize energy. You don't beg. You don't lower your standards. You don't settle because you'd rather be alone than with the wrong person. And trust me, that level of self-respect, that's the real definition of hot. There's a unique kind of power that comes with a woman who knows she doesn't need anyone to validate her existence. She's no longer in the business of begging for attention, approval, or love. She understands her value, and she expects the world to treat her accordingly. That doesn't make her arrogant, it makes her self-aware. She's been through life's trials, navigated heartbreak, and rebuilt herself more times than she can count, and through it all, she has never lost her sense of self. That kind of energy is magnetic because it radiates strength, confidence, and clarity. People notice it instantly, even if they can't put their finger on why they are drawn to her. She doesn't settle for less than she deserves. Life taught her the hard lessons, and she refuses to repeat the mistakes of her past. She has learned that compromise doesn't mean sacrificing her standards, and patience doesn't mean waiting for someone unworthy. She chooses carefully because she knows that every relationship she allows into her life impacts her peace, her growth, and her joy. She's selective not out of fear, but out of wisdom. She understands that time is precious, and she won't spend it on anything or anyone that diminishes her light. Her self-respect shows in the way she communicates. She doesn't argue to win or manipulate to get her way. She speaks with clarity, honesty, and intention. She doesn't tolerate mind games, disrespect, or emotional manipulation. If someone fails to meet her standards, she addresses it calmly and decisively, or she walks away. She knows that enforcing boundaries isn't harsh, it's necessary for her well-being. That awareness makes her presence commanding. People may be intimidated by it at first, but they also deeply respect it. She doesn't give her energy to anyone who doesn't recognize her worth. She has also mastered the art of self-reliance. She doesn't rely on a partner, friend, or family member to fill gaps in her life. She fills her own gaps. She has hobbies, passions, and a life that is full on its own. That independence is attractive because it signals that she is complete, that she is stable, and that her happiness is her responsibility, not anyone else's. She's generous with her love, her time, and her attention, but only when it aligns with her values and her peace. She doesn't give because she wants something in return. She gives because she wants to, but never at the cost of herself. And when she loves, it's different. She loves with intention and clarity, not with neediness or insecurity. She knows how to be supportive without being overbearing. She knows how to nurture a relationship without losing her identity. She knows the difference between someone who is genuinely interested in growing with her and someone who just wants a convenient companion. That discernment comes from experience. She has been hurt, but she has learned the lessons. And now she moves forward with intelligence and grace. Finally, she embodies a presence that is unforgettable. People notice the way she walks into a room, the way she smiles, the way she holds herself with quiet power. She doesn't have to prove she's desirable. It's obvious in the way she carries herself. Her aura is magnetic because it's built on self-awareness, self-respect, and authenticity. Age doesn't diminish her, it amplifies her. Every experience, every challenge, every triumph has sculpted her into someone who is not just hot, but deeply captivating in ways that go beyond physical appearance. That is the kind of woman who commands attention without asking for it, who attracts respect without demanding it, and who lives life unapologetically on her own terms.